going to broadcast it on the show. I'm on live now, so if you get any more stuff, please send it. Thank you. It's my face. It's on my Facebook page. Well, good evening, folks. Dennis here. Hope you're having a great day. I hope you're watching the rigmarole that's happening in the Capitol now and the storm in the Capitol building. I've got plenty of people in America now, some in Florida and some in the Capitol itself who are giving me inside information. I didn't ask them to give me inside information, but they are doing. So please stay tuned. So we're going to actually bring on a lady tonight who is in actually America. Miss Sweeney. Yes. Miss Sweeney, that sounds really good. Over here in England, there was a police series called The Sweeney. They were special police that used to, there was nothing they couldn't do, and they kicked hell out of people. A bit like the what's happening now in America. People are waking up. People, you can only push the people around for so long and they will retaliate, especially if their freedom's been taken away from them. So I say to the English government, wake up, because this could be you in a couple of months' time. Because Guy Fawkes didn't make it, but there's more technologies now that help people to do what Guy Fawkes wanted to do. That was to see the government off. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just saying to people, be careful what you wish for. Be careful that you cannot lock the human people up for so long, because they will retaliate. So tonight, Tamara Sweeney, all the way from America, she was a sleeper. Now, I did have a crack at her about her beauty sleep. She doesn't need it, folks. She doesn't need a beauty sleep. You tell me that later, or tell her she didn't need a beauty sleep. But before we go on, look, have a guess who I promote, who I stand aligned with, alongside with, back to back, shoulder to shoulder with. Yes, Trumpy, Mr. T. Now, I've got to be careful what I say, because Facebook might pull this broadcast. So it's going to be very, very PC friendly. Oh, you know that's not going to happen, folks. I'm a real Lancashire, Cheshire guy, Yorkshire guy, so I don't mince words. I say it as it is, and if you get upset, then I suggest you leave the broadcast, because it's going to be one of those nights. There's going to be no punches hold. Yes, Trump, Trump, Trump. If you mention Trump, if you're forward Trump, if you're forward a light worker, a light shower, going to put your comments on, because we need the comments. Somebody who looks at the shows and goes back and says, hey, that Dennis Barnes, the 99% show, is in your favour. We all are in the favour of people not locking us up, aren't we? The answer is yes, folks. Remember, when I say in the Dennis Barnes show, I say, you've got to ask for the highest, the brightest, and the best. Let me see that in there. Let me see the comments. You are asking for the highest, the brightest, and the best to materialise on this earth at this time, to help those who are feeling the pinch of all governments all around the world, who've taken the money, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're now trying to, in a way, entrap us. Yes, it's a bit cold out there at the moment, so I'm sporting a little bit of a chiseled beard. Tell me what you think, folks. Does it suit me? Yes or no? And no Father Christmas jokes either, or else I'll bin you off the programme. I won't really, but the more the merrier. So without ado, we're going to bring on our fantastic guest all the way from America, a late sleeper. I hope she's woke up and she's on the other phone. Well, on the other camera. So brilliant. Let's bring her on. At the moment, folks, when I'm putting on a caption like this from Emma Day. What a nice name, Emma Day. I love that name. Can you make it a bit shorter or make it underneath each other? Because if it's a long one, it goes off the screen and I can't change it at this moment. So a bit like what Collins just said, Trump is the main man. Yeah, a bit like that. Short and punchy rather than long. Okay, so we get rid of that. And this is what I'm trying to understand. You see how that's cut off now? Not too long posts. Short and many if you want. Okay, so we're going to bring that back. And at the moment, folks, we're now going to bring on our guest for tonight, my altered ego, Dennis Barnes. No, actually, I'm going to bring on our guest. And would you believe, this tells me my brain is empty because I've forgotten where she's from. But I know it's America. It's going to be a good show, because when this happens to me, it means my team are here as well to guide the proceedings as it goes on. So brilliant. Short and sweet. That's it. Short and sweet. Not tonight's show. Tonight's show has got no time limit. Unless it gets boring, and then we'll pull it. So any questions, folks, any comments, any questions you want, anything, comments you want to say to get a response from me or from Tamara, then ask them and we'll put them on the screen. Okay, fine. Going to bring our beautiful guest on. Here we are. Here she comes. Hopefully. Oh, there she is. Yes, she's not disappeared. Hello, how are you? Where are you from?
I
What's
am
your name? And
great.
what's your bank account number?
My name is Tamara
Oh, you're
Sweeney.
muted.
I am,
Have you muted yourself?
no.
No, you're muted. Okay, fine. What's gone on here now? Okay. Hmm. Testing, testing.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you've muted yourself. Oh, for some reason. That's not a very good start. So basically, um, wow, what has happened here now? Just give me a second to sort this out. It was working be fine. So, um, you can, oh,
Can you hear me now?
it was me. I'm at fault. I muted myself. Sorry, folks. My fault. It's old age. It's Alzheimer's kicking in. I'm going to the hospital tomorrow, so I get them to look at that. So, how are you, young lady? What's going on? And tell me in a nice way, why have you taken so long of your beautiful life to wake up? What made you wake up?
I think it was more programmed to science, and I didn't believe necessarily. I knew it was intuitive, but I didn't realize that science played a big part in my ascension.
Science?
Yes, I believe sort of like in the quantum physics of it, why things
Okay.
manifest, how it starts, that kind of thing. Yes.
So tell us,
Plus,
tell me more. Tell me more about this science.
well,
Don't make it boring
I
like science is. We don't have him boring on the show. Make it powerful and positive so people go, I want to know more about her. And that man with the beard. That's me, of course.
okay. Well, I started feeling energy. I started feeling the frequency within my body, and I couldn't understand or manipulate. I was able to manipulate it. And when I focused on raising that energy, I learned to astral project or leave my body. And so I said there's a connection with the science behind it. And at one point, what happened was I got pulled out of my body. And right prior to being pulled out, I heard Spirit for the first time, gave me her name and everything. And I was just like, okay, this shit's for real, or stuff, sorry. And then I started reading more books and trying to understand what it was that I was feeling. And I could hear a tone or a pitch alongside of that as well.
So where did you go from there then? Was it at a moment? Because when we've been talking, you've been talking about you approached your mother and your mother didn't kind of help you. You kind of just left you alone on the sea with one paddle and says, right,
Mm.
paddle or swim.
Okay. So my biological mother was gifted, but I did not know her because she left when I was 6 years old. And she lived in multiple places, traveled across the country in a covered wagon, lived in Sedona for a while. And then she couldn't handle us and she left us with my father. And we were brought up in a very strict, they didn't believe in intuition and that kind of thing. And so I started believing more in not so much in religion, but in science and stuff like that. I got a master's in psychology, trying to understand myself. And then when I heard Spirit for the first time, that threw me all off board. Now I don't think she's crazy anymore. I literally understand that this is real, this is truth. And when you were talking about truth the other day or earlier, that's what I resonate with. My intuition kicks in when I pick up somebody's truth. I see from their perspective. And you also mentioned Sweeney's being related to police, and I used to be a police officer in the military. I supported our country. And what's going on right now with the Capitol and them storming the Capitol? We're taking stuff into our own hands. We're speaking our truth, and we're realizing that the um, we are the 99%. We are not that 1% who like rule over us, who dictate what we do and what we say. When I heard, I was I hated Trump. I hated the man, I absolutely hated the man. And I have personal reasons for it. But when I woke up, I did not realize that he was fighting for us. that he was taking on the biggest corrupt group of people that ever existed. And here we are, and we're fighting back. And that's what needs to be handed. We need to step into our truth. We need to push ourselves outside the box and start taking our country back, our world back.
I
And that
want to
includes
talk.
every
I just
country.
let me jump in a way, because I want to cover what's happening now in America, because I've got I've got people in Florida who are texting me, sending me stuff. I've got people in New York and people in the capital now who are actually doing videos and sending. And I do believe, I don't know if people know this, but I'm going to bring it forward now, that I've just received that President Trump has activated the National Guard. Trump has activated the National Guard, so that's he's taking matters into his own hand. And also, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Trump is going to address the nation in a one-off situation. So Trump is going to address the nation. This is what it says here. Tonight, President Trump is going to address the nation at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This is not a rally speech. This is to address the nation, where he's going to give and lay out the evidence to those who have not heard or been hiding from the truth, to get to hear about the fraud and corruption. Everybody needs to turn into that speech. So the man's out there. He is a light worker. He is, and people say he's not a good man, but does God, whatever you think God is, does he use the best? Does he use a pure, innocent man to fight? No, he uses the right man for the right battle. And President Trump, Mr. T, is the right man for the right battle here. At the moment, I wish our government had a Mr. T. We've got Boris Johnson, potato head, who's really a buffoon, and he's really under the clutches of the New World Order, the World Health, and taken the money, and that he's doing now. So Zoo Battle, what time will that be in the UK? 2 a.m. That will be 2 a.m. So tune in. I'll send you a link later. So to me, Trump is he's a good guy. And when he first came in, there was lots of spiritual people, so-called spiritual people, wanting to put a hex on him. And I was in the woods one day and they said to me, you need to get this channeling out. So I went home, got the camera, took to the woods, did the channeling. To waste of time, people putting a hex on him because he's one of the God's people. He is an angel, not an angel, but he's a knight with armor. So this is what's going to go on. Trump is going to show people what's going on, because it needs to come down to the wire so people can know what the situation is. That's my take. I would love your take, but I don't want to focus on this a little too much. I want to round the show out a little bit, know a little bit more about you, and how you can inspire the guests or the people that might tune into you. Because you talked to me about that you had many obstacles and you didn't believe in yourself and you stuttered and stammered, well, a bit like me, but I don't mind it. Add to my personality and good looks. I've got a sense of humour, but I don't care. I was born with it. This is why my people tick me, because they said, you've got no filters, Dennis. We can say what we can through you and you get away with it. So tell us about what you developed, the skills to push forward through the inadequacies that you thought you had.
Mm.
Can you do that for a few moments?
Yes, absolutely. Let me go to your question first. About Trump. I see him as, I always thought of him as an a-hole, but maybe that's exactly what we needed to help take down these elites or these deletes.
Exactly.
And maybe we needed that. Everyone else prior to him failed because they didn't have the cojones. They didn't have the guts to do what he's doing. But I think when I started to develop a recognizing spirit, I started looking for contacts, friends, friend requesting everybody, and trying to take classes and train with the best. And uh, what are my spiritual beliefs? What is it that I know? I know about energy, and I can manipulate it. I found a spiritualist church. Now, a lot of this community doesn't see that the way I see things. They still think Trump's a bad guy. They still see it in those ways. And I was told by Spirit that they're on a ladder. They're on different degrees of frequency. You're not going to look at that person and say, "Wow, you're not there yet. I can't believe you. You're stupid." No, you're going to say, "Okay, well, you don't resonate with me, and when and if you do have questions, I'll be happy to answer them." You don't take judgments. It would be like you looking at a child and say, um, "I can't believe you can't do that." You would encourage them, and like Jesus, if he were, in existence, would he look at everybody and say, "I can't believe that you don't um, see the truth"? No, you'd be there to support them. And I see a lot of the community bashing each other and not realizing that we're a collective consciousness that came here to experience life. There's no separateness. And that term, where we go, one, we go all, because we are a collective consciousness. Even the bad guys, which has a lot of people upset, from my perspectives anyway, that they don't see that we need to assist each other and recognize our own light, our own vibrational frequency. um, we come in physical form. We are less dense, and when we become more dense. And as we start back up that ascension ladder, we become less dense again. It's degrees of frequency, so similar to the Hawking scale. Every vibration that we hold has a frequency measurable in hertz, and these negatives, or like beliefs in self, these negative perceptions of self, are holding us down from that ascension. Let's say right now, fear, let's say, resonates at 100 hertz. That's a low frequency, and that's what the elites are trying to do to prevent us from this ascension process, by stopping us from recognizing our own power. Now, when you start believing in yourself, these positive attributes literally help and raise you up that ascension ladder. Like when I talk about like negative perceptions of self, it's like shame, guilt, grief, anger, fear. But when you start embracing those higher frequencies of self-love or pride or courage or joy or peace, those things are on a higher frequency. And ascension itself, or the awakening process, begins at that higher frequency at 700 hertz and brings us closer up to God's source.
So, how would you, in a way, explain to the people, or who are just about to wake up and they're not really sure what to do, where to go, who to listen to, what to think, what to feel? Because you've just done that. You've woken up 3 years ago, right? So you say. And but it's really good, because I find a lot of people who wake up late, they have a mission. They really have a mission, and it's quite forceful. When you get an old timer like me who's been awake 30 years, right? I'm not an old timer, believe that, I am not. But it's like saying, Dennis, you were like the first rung of the Star Children. You were the first awake people. Okay, fine. It's like, so now what do I say to people like yourself who have just woken up now? I'm saying, where the hell have you been? What's taking you so bloody long? Now get stuck in. Now, would you suggest that to somebody else? What would
I
you suggest to somebody else?
When you're going through this process, and we're all going through a collective awakening, whether it be through knowledge, truth-based, or spiritually, I say, in order to recognize your own light, you have to trust and believe in you. You don't look outside yourself to find the answers, you look within. Because when you recognize your own light source, that vibrates out to the universe. Right now, as intuitives or collectives, or the 144,000, we are all holding that light. That like, when they talk about like solar energies and that solar flash and everything else, it's like energy. What I feel, I don't feel the sun or some massive thing. What I feel is energy. and I feel it hitting us in a big way. And we're holding that light in order to help with the ascension of the collective, if that makes sense. So I would say that you need to recognize your own light and vibrate it outward. And when you do, everyone else, it's like a ripple effect. Everyone else feels it. And not to, and to be honest, and integral. And like, as you know, you're a medium as well. If you, uh, if you're untruthful,
I'm not a
spirit's not going to
medium.
learn to trust you.
I'm not a medium. I'm very large. I have a large
Oh,
personality. I have a large
okay. I
personality.
thought, sorry,
I'm
my
joking. I'm
mistake.
bringing some humor into it. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
I do say to that. Yeah, but it's like you're saying. A lot of people are scared of waking up. And someone's put a comment on here. So many people aren't ready to rise to the higher energy that Trump is trying to bring people to. You don't have to rise to the energy that Trump wants to bring people to, or a guru might want to bring you to. You have to rise one step. You have to go one step ahead, one rung of the ladder as many times as you can, and you rise like no one gets left behind, and where one goes, all go. You can rise your energy by your own thinking and feeling, and be careful of the people that you intertwine with. If they're boring bastards, get rid of them. If they pull you down, get rid of them, because you are only able to reflect your own energy you have yourself to the outside world, and you've not got to be scared. You're not got to be PC correct, because PC correct was mean you're thinking about somebody else before you say something. You're thinking how will they take what I've got to say, and they might take it fine. So basically, if you think how people are going to take what you say, are they going to take it nice, then you're limiting your power. You're backing off. If you call somebody a boring old git, you've got to tell them they're boring old git, instead of saying, well, I think you should change your attitude because it's getting a bit staid. No, you're a boring old git, now bugger off. That's on your bike, keep pedaling, the next state, and then the next sea, and the ocean. So, like you say, you are not scared. I mean, you've awoken. You're like Snow White. You've been in a dream. You've been given the poison apple. That means you're not woken up, which is fine. I mean, I know other people, and they're not waking up, or they're just about to wake up. But I know other people that woke up 40 years ago, but they're still stuck. They're still stuck on a full ladder. They won't take the next step. They won't say, well, here I am. I'm a human being. No, actually, you're not. You're a spiritual being born under an astrological stamp, and that astrological stamp has an ego. So what do you do with that ego? You either kick it to the death, kick it to the curb, move out of it, and do the best you can. So don't let the body, don't let your male or your female, your colour of your skin, the way you think, your education, do not let it pull you down. I didn't go to school. I was expelled. Spiritually educated all my life since the age of 16. Upstairs have taught me all my life. Not educated. Born with a stutter. Now born with a speech impediment. I couldn't talk. Girls had to chat me up. That's why I've got no girlfriends, because they have to do all the hard work. But you know what I mean? You've got to get out there, folks. Listen in a nice way that you are the sum total of your thoughts and feelings. And if you don't think you're worthy of it, you won't. You've got to change your attitude and say, right, I am worthy of great things. You've got to be the Spartacus. You've got to be the Ben-Hur. You've got to take it on the chin and say, right, I can do this. Take Trump for an example. He's showing you the way, and all the people, basically all the world, want to knock him down because he's finding out the satanic views, the child trafficking, the people trafficking, the money laundering, all these people who want to bring China into the fray, into America. What's it all about? Sorry, I went on one. I'd not bothered. Over to you, Tamara.
Well, China is in America. It is. It's literally here. And we're just trying to push them out. They've been here. They've been trying to take over. They've been invading our media, or big tech, our communications, of course, all the Facebook, Twitter, all that. But a big part of this is the fact that when we start stepping and believing in who we are, we're not afraid anymore. The ego is what prevents us from ascending. When we vibrate, or when we believe in ourselves or in our potential, our potential, we actually manifest that timeline by believing in it. So your thought has power. Your beliefs have power. What you put out into the universe will attract back to you. So if you keep inside yourself, you're not going to expand. You're not going to ascend. You have to step out of your comfort zone, and you have to be that person you want to be instead of that person that you are. You mentioned something before to me about not being in the past and not being in the present, but being in the future because your ego hadn't attached. You couldn't have your ego in the future. And that sort of made sense to me. I resonated with that. So, and I recognize that you yourself speak your truth in a big way. And I like that. I hate people. And you can ask anybody I know. I am very direct, and I appreciate that. And I saw that in you right away.
Well, the ego. I mean, I've been taught this. I have some fantastic people that I can ring up and talk to, and they're a lot older and wiser than me. And one is my mother from a past life. She is phenomenal teacher, and she's soon going to leave the planet. But she says she's going to come back straight away because she's got all these medical gifts, and she's going to have to come in, well, to go out, serve a little bit of time up there, and then come back in because the world is going to need it because there's got to be superhumans walking this earth. I mean, I know that in time, in 100 years' time or 200 years' time, we as humans will not exist in the way we are now. We are going to be superhuman. We're going to be switched on. We're going to, in a way, get rid of the ego, get rid of these satanic people who are trying to kill us and put us on the dungeon wall and rape us, then take our money and have the great reset so we live on universal credit, take our homes off us, and allow us to go outside to breathe fresh air and to make love to people. I think on your bike, Jimmy, no way. That is like, you're already dead. If you let that happen, folks, any of you let that happen, you're not worth living. You've got to go out there. You've got to say no masks. I mean, today I've been into like 3 supermarkets, no masks. Somebody challenged me in the chemist. They said, "You got no mask?" I said, "Yeah, I've got no underpants on either." They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know what to say. They went, oh. And when they went and talked, but they didn't challenge me. But other people looked. It's like, and in fact, I want to take some people on actually. This is the Dennis Barnes. This is the Dennis the Menace in me. I want them to have a go so I can say, listen, maybe you should look at this. Now, I know I'm going on a little bit, but how have you overcome? Because I like to share it with the people who are waking up, who want to have a platform, who want to develop. How did you? I've asked you this once, but I don't think you answered it properly. What tips would you give them to stand in their power, to stand in their light at this moment?
Trust that you've created this path for yourself. These challenges you put in your way, you've created these difficulties. Now, have I had difficulties over the last 3 years? Absolutely. But recognize that each difficulty is a challenge. It's moving you forward into the right direction. I just broke up with my husband. My 3 kids won't talk to me right now. Most of my family and my church stopped.
That's a blessing in a way. Enjoy it. That's a blessing. Go out. Go forth and multiply, kids. Go and earn some money or something. That's a blessing.
But it also gave me time to reflect on what it is that I want. What is my best timeline? What is it that I need to do? And then start doing it instead of just talking about it. Procrastination is like my worst enemy. You have to start believing in you, and you will manifest the timeline that you want. And these negative attachments to self is just lowering your frequency, not. So if you see, let's say you want to be a doctor, but then you say, I can't do it, it's not, not for me. Instead of saying, I'm going to do it and I can do it. When you believe it, that's the frequency that you will attract. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You believe in you, and that's when others will. And
It's
that's when
like
your higher self will connect with you.
it's like learning on the job. Someone says, I want that job, and you think, oh, I can't do it. And then your heart says, take it and you learn on the job. Don't worry about it. But your ego says, oh, you can't do it. Don't worry about it. Don't take it. But your heart wants to go forward. I mean, people are doing nice comments, and I've not put them up yet because I want to say to people, can you make your statements a bit shorter? Because if I put this up, you can't read it properly. So if you can make it a bit shorter or put a return so it's underneath it, if it works that way. So sorry about that, folks. But let me just go back to the ego slightly. The ego, when you're laughing, smiling, and happy, the ego is redundant. It's homeless. The homeless is redundant. The ego is homeless, redundant. It's kicked to the curb when you're happy, when you are smiling, you're laughing, you're singing, you're in love, or you're having love, or you're sending love bombs to people, or you're receiving love bombs. Remember, the ego cannot go into the future as well. But when you're happy, it doesn't know what to do. It dwells in your miserable attitude. It wants to kick your ass and it wants to make you miserable until you understand what's going on. Because the ego and the soul come in together. The ego is a pseudo soul. He thinks it's in charge, but it's not. The soul's in charge, but the soul is that kind of old man that's wisdom and wise, a bit like Father Christmas. He's wise. He lets people play about until the naughty elves get out of hand and he has to pull them in. So that's about the ego. Sometimes you've got to just go, that's enough, no more, and stamp on it. When I'm not aware, sometimes my ego has a go at me, and I just say, on your bite, well, I swear at it. So go forth and multiply. Go and frig off. And I laugh. You're not going to get me. And then when you start to understand, the ego goes, oh, I'm not going to get him. I'll back off. And then you have 3 or 4 days of nothing really, really strong. But then the ego kind of goes, it finds a different way. So it's about being a rounded vessel with no sharp corners that the ego can get hold of. You have to be like a pound of butter and you spread it all over you, a bit slippy, isn't it? And the ego can't stick to you. That brings me to a film that I watched where people opened the fridge and they smeared all food on them. But we're not going to go there. It's not that kind of show. But the ego it wants to screw you up. But you as a spiritual being, you yourself must understand and gone through what the ego's been telling you about and how to go through it. Because look at you now. What's the next stage in
I'm,
your life? What do you want to accomplish?
um, that's been a difficult process for me because, initially I wanted to be the best medium, the best psychic, the best everything.
I'm
And then
that.
this,
I'm that. You know that. That's my job. You can wait.
and uh, then things changed. The virus hit. I turned my whole perspective changed, and you have to be open to changing a perspective because that's the only way you learn. And so it changed me. I was Miss Positive. I posted everything positive, and now I'm all truth. I blast it in a big way because I think if I'm not being truthful, I'm not stepping into my own power. I'm not, I'm standing back and letting these deletes take over. We as individuals do our little part in order to help the collective, regardless of what that is. And right now, we're all in a fight to win our sovereignty back, to win our world back, to connect to our higher self, which was stolen from us. Because that's what the elites are trying to do. They're trying to keep us in the dark, literally, and keep us from recognizing our true potential of who we are. And we're all sovereign. We're a collective consciousness
Yeah.
that's here to experience life and experience the world.
So tell us a little bit of what's happening, what you're privy to with your ears in the ground, to the ground in America with Trump now, with the Capitol being stormed.
You know, it's funny because I keep on hearing grab your popcorn. And so I literally want to grab my popcorn and I feel guilty about that. You know, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm like, finally, something's happening. And maybe this is the trigger to the catalyst. You know, so I'm watching all this happening. I'm like, Capitol stormed. Okay. You know, I'm like, okay, what next? You know, and to not react in fear because everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Shock. But instead of saying, what's the hidden agenda here? You know, why is this all happening? Was this staged? You know, was this BLM, Antifa? You know, was it one of those? Or what if they already know what's going to happen and they're just letting it play out? Or maybe that's what needed to happen in order for things to start. You know, look at all the news coverage he's getting right now. There's no stepping out of this.
I love
You know,
it.
they storm.
I love it. He's like he's divinely inspired. To me, he's got a big shell around him, which is invisible, keeps in cocooned. But okay, he's showing us the way, right? He's showing us that the elite want to get at us. They want to entrap us. Like reincarnation's a trap. When people, let me just go on one here. When people say, "Oh, go to the light," I've passed over, and they've gone to the light, and I always say, "Don't go to the light. That's a trap. That's reincarnation trap. Find the source. Find the source of the light. That's not a reincarnation trap." So don't find the light, folks, when you go over. That's if you can remember my words when you croak it, folks. Don't look at the light. Don't go to the light. Find the source. Find God or whatever you think God is. Because let me tell you this in a nice way, and people are going to find it hard to believe, that in God's mansion there's many rooms. Let's just take the 3 downstairs rooms in a mansion. Well, let's call that 3 different earths. So there's 3 different earths in the downstairs, and each earth has a solar system and a galaxy. But in that galaxy and solar system, there's a God. So there's a God for that room. But in the next room, there's another planet system, and there's another God for that. And in the next room, there's also another God for that system. So there's many gods. So remember, folks, that this is just part of the mansion. And before we have God realization, it's just like, oh, someone's changing the words for me a moment. You've got to have self-realization. When you have self-realization, you know who you are, where you're from, what it's all about, what your journey is all about, who to talk to, not to talk to, when to shop, when not to shop, and when to stand up and be counted. A lot of people are realizing this without knowing it. It's their time to stand up and be counted. Quite a few people are reaching out and saying, what do I do? I said, just find your courage. Find the hero within yourself. Play music that builds you up. Play classical music because it resonates to a different frequency. Don't play your pop songs, miserable songs, because it brings you down. Look at the people who sing the same songs, a miserable song. Look at the energy, brings you down. Find that music that pops you up there, that allows you to play on a moonbeam. That's what.
Honestly, if when I come home, if I'm feeling down, I literally just turn on the music and just start dancing like crazy. You know, and luckily I have no neighbor below me right now, but that's what I do because it helps to raise your frequency up. And I can physically feel it, as I said before. So I already know when, you know, my frequency is down. And you were talking about houses before, different rooms. I see 3D and 5D or whatever as different houses, and you can't go into the house unless you have the right key. You have to be that vibrational match of that house that you're going into. So when you rise higher in your frequency, as I said, you attract that higher dimension. You can step into that higher dimension if you resonate at that frequency. I believe that we are being sent help as a collective consciousness, and also as Gaia, as the Earth, Mother Earth herself, that we're being assisted from outside to, I don't know if it's from Galactic Federation. I don't have that kind of contacts, but they're assisting Earth in raising that frequency, that Schumann resonance. Everything that's being hit to us is helping us to ascend or to wake up. We've been stopped from our ability to awaken or to ascend through chemtrails, through the fluoride, through the chemicals they put into it. We have been prevented from recognizing our true potential. And it pisses me off. It does, because I have been blind for so long. And that's probably why I'm speaking up so much now, because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this. And the child, and it's for the children. My heart's going to break. These kids, what they've done to us, what they've stolen. I just got chills. What they've stolen from us. If I don't remember my past lives, but I do remember being underground. And I think that maybe I was one of those children. I don't know it for sure, but maybe that I was. And that's why I'm fighting like hell right now. Speaking my little part is small. I'm speaking my truth. And when you speak your truth, it resonates with everyone else. And you start stepping into your own power and recognizing that you came here for a reason, to fight. And we're fighting for our country. We're fighting for our sovereignty. We're fighting for our souls, our higher selves. Our connection to source has been broken from these elites.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and basically I said, I don't feel really tuned in at the moment. I don't know if I'm doing the right job or I'm on the right thing. And this friend of mine just tore a strip off me. He said, "You've no idea what they think about you upstairs, because you never give in. You do the mediumship, you do Blog Talk Radio, you do Dennis Barnes Out Front, you do 99% show, you're always there, you're posting this and that." Said, "You're doing a lot of work, but I'm not doing that because I feel that a lot of people have inspired me who are not on the planet anymore, and I just feel that I've got to be a continuer of that to help other people to find the hero within themselves. And once they find the hero in themselves, they can stand up and be counted and let their spirit connect to their God, whatever that God is, or whatever name you're going to use, to move forward. And to hear what's going on in America now, in a way, I'm glad it's kicking off. On the physical, I'm not. On the spiritual, I'm glad, but not the physical, because people might get hurt, right? But in the etheric, it had to kick off because there had to be a change. And in that change, those that are out there can intervene with certain people, can get through to them. Instead, because once they've broke the lock or the cobwebs of that other party that is blackmailing other people to do their bidding, once they're free of this cobweb that keeps them suppressed, then they can start to shine themselves. And when they start to shine, they inspire other people. You've inspired other people. You've inspired people tonight on our show. You'll inspire other people. But you've got to keep inspiring yourself. And sometimes that becomes a little bit tedious, because sometimes we don't believe ourselves. We don't think we're getting the right information. But then you have a breakthrough. You think, you're talking to somebody and your words come out. You think, I didn't say that. Those are not my words. And I've noticed this when I do the Dennis Barnes Out Front show. They're not my words. I can start as soon as it goes in, and I can talk for an hour. And after I watch it back and think, oh, he's a handsome guy. No, that's joking. That's my altered ego coming out. I'm saying, where's all the words come from? And I sit back and think, that's because I allowed I allowed that source to come in. I allowed the music to play within my heart. And that music was coupled with words and feelings and direct downloads. And I think Trump is a Spartacus that has stood up. And a lot of people will stand up. They won't have the same ending as Spartacus in those films. Will the real Spartacus stand up? I think a lot of people are going to stand up in favour and for Mr. T.
And we don't even, our media here is not sharing anything. You can't turn on the news and see anything positive about Trump or anything else. They don't share the news. You know, we have to do our own research to find out what's going on. And it's our time. It's our time to fight. I mean, I see different countries like where you're at and everywhere else that have these lockdowns and these rules and these possible mandatory vaccinations and all these things, you know. And I won't get the shot, by the way, not a chance, you know, because I think it changes our biology, or it attaches to the mRNA, attaches and changes our, you know, I believe that we have multiple DNA strands that have been blocked, like a sequence of 12. And this vaccine will attach to those DNA strands and prevent that ascension process. I 100% believe that they want to mandate this immediately in order to prevent that from happening. It's funny. I had a hard time believing in intuition and psychics and mediums myself until I heard spirit for the first time. I think with what's going on right now is that people are starting to hear this truth for the first time. And they're starting to step into their own power and believing that they can make a difference, you know, to step out of your comfort zone, to do the right thing, to believe in yourself, to speak your truth, to live with integrity. And that's when spirit will connect with you, when they believe it, when they trust you. And it's not necessarily spirit, it's your higher self. You're merging with your higher self because you're raising your frequency up and you're allowed to connect with yourself at a more personal level. I don't know if it's ascended masters or the counselor, whatever. I wish I knew, but I think it's a direct connect to self. And when you were talking, how you just start talking freely. I find that if I close my eyes and I call it, I don't know if it's channeling or just connecting in tune with who I am and on a soul level, but you're able to raise your frequency and you start just speaking and your ego has no place. It doesn't tell you you're saying the wrong thing or trying to interpret what you see or, you know, that connection. You're just speaking. And when you start speaking your truth, there's nobody who's going to prevent that from happening unless it's you. So when you step into your own power, you start resonate with others because they see something in you that there's lacking in themselves, you know, and they say, I like that. Oh, wow, she's speaking her truth. But then, like for me, I have a problem with validation. Like I need to be right, you know, and stuff like that. So I've learned that if I make a mistake on something, I admit it. You're right. I'm wrong. You know, there's no fault with being wrong. And that's your ego saying, oh, I'm going to be judged, or, you know, that's your ego that steps in.
There was something I was going to say, but it been wiped. It's just wiped out my brain completely now. That tells me that I wasn't supposed to say it, because even when I'm here now, the 99% show, it's a platform for the people to come on to have their say, obviously constructively. We don't want any boring people. Quite a people have asked, can they come on, and I've looked at them and talked to them. I think you couldn't hold the show, be honest with you. So we can't. And wait till they kind of got more information. So I've just gone blank, which is good. Okay, fine. You brought it back again. It's even now, my people are here, the invisible people, and they're kind of watching and waiting to interact something. So it makes it more dramatic, dynamic, more interesting, more self-realization for other people, thinking, yeah, I can understand that. Now that's helped me. And I think a show should able to help people. It shouldn't be all politics. It should say, this is what's happened or happening, but there's a reason for this, and to get out of this, this is what helped me to go beyond the norm of the limitations of the human mind. Because it's the mind which is body identified, which is not a spiritual aspect. The heart is half a spiritual aspect. It's not a full spiritual aspect. But within the heart, within the heart, there's a crystal. And that crystal vibrates to other crystals on the same frequency. So your heart is vibrating to all those people out there now. So they can tune in to your heart resonance and understand. If they don't even understand your words, they can understand the warmth, the intuition, and the frequency. I'm looking for the right word. They popped it in there. Said that, try this, Dennis. Frequency, that will help. Frequency of your words and your vibration, because our frequency goes out before us. I mean, I've taken on spiritual churches here in England. I've taken them on and they didn't like it because they tried to keep me quiet, and that didn't work. So if they can't appreciate you, they don't know where you're coming from, or your level of intuition is higher than theirs, they try to bring you down to their level. And that is a no-no. You and I should try to inspire other people higher than ourselves. The gurus of old, they used to sit with their devotees in front of them. And the job of a modern guru is to not have disciples in front of them, but to teach them, to show them how to be their own guru, to go out into the world, to inspire, to uplift, and to educate. Even now, I'm looking for words because Dennis has gone. Dennis is not here at the moment. They're kind of pushing me out. I'm surprised they're doing it on the 99% show because it's changed. It's gone from Trump. It's gone to you. It's about your development. It's about how we can inspire other people to see it for what it is in America or in different countries where there's agenda to entrap, especially in England. They can see that, and then how do they go about breaking the matrix? How do they go about it? And I think that's what you and I, well, this is what the 99% show is all about, is to inspire other people to seek the highest, the brightest, and the best within themselves, and ask those people upstairs for the highest and brightest and best to come around to give them the inspiration for what is needed at this time. Right, that's me done for a bit. Over to you.
A lot of people look at, what they want in this life or what they pray towards. Oh, I need money. I need security. I need a relationship. I need this or I need that. Until you recognize your own light, you can't resonate at that frequency. You can't um, make those things happen. You start believing it. And I see a lot of intuitives out here that they say that you need to come and see me. Only then will you understand, instead of teaching those people to recognize that they themselves are the light, that they hold that frequency. And once they recognize that, and that's what I want to do, I want to inspire people to see within their selves, recognize their true potential, recognize that they have abilities just like these gurus, just like these higher people. We look outside of ourselves trying to see other people as superior to us. Like, oh, maybe if I, train with this guy, he'll give me more insight. Or maybe if I go see these people. I have a problem though. I have no filter. So even when I'm training with these popular people, I will tell them what I think. I will disagree with other high up intuitives because I'm starting to recognize that I hold that same information. I can access that same information. When you start believing in you, that timeline will manifest. That's what you start attracting back to you. There's a whole world of inappropriate or disappropriate, I can't think of the word. There's poor people there's rich people, there's 1% who own 99%, of the financial, we're not privately owned, or the Federal Reserve was privately owned. We didn't own it as a government. They took advantage of us, and now we're starting to step into a utopia. I see this utopia around the corner. If anything, intuitively, I know this will end well. And people got to realize that they're all stuck in that fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? It doesn't matter. This is the catalyst that is pushing us forward. We're stepping into that frequency, and it's like a roller coaster. You're
Yeah.
going all the way up. You're going down. It's already reached that momentum. We're ascending. Is there going to be some sort of solar flash? I don't think so, but I feel the energy of it. Like a pulse. It's like a heartbeat, a wave. It's constantly being sent to us to help us and the earth and Gaia and everything on the planet to ascend. We've been pushed, we've been prevented. 3D, we're in 3D. We're ascending to 5D. All the reptilians, whatever you want to call them, are stuck in that 4D paradigm. they're not reaching us, and they don't want us to surpass them. So they're trying to keep us low, and they're not going to win. I've seen this over and over again. This ends positively. There may be some bumps in order to get to that point, but we are getting there. There's
So
no preventing us.
how would you, what would you say to people now who may be listening, well, are listening and maybe listening later on the replay? How would you ask them or direct them to find or be in touch with that dimension, that frequency that allows them to step forward into their true power, to recognize their lineage of a spiritual being with power? What would you advise them to do, and what to do, how to do it?
I think just to trust themselves. A lot of times people have doubts about their own potentiality. And when they start trusting their gut instead of like, I should go over there today. Well, then go. Your soul's crying out. Maybe I should go. Do I need to be switching jobs? Switch.
Okay, well, I have a question for you. A friend of mine just typed in the window here. I'll put it on your screen. It said, "What is 5D?" Cindy Jordan from
Okay,
Texas.
so
She's from Texas.
I believe that 3D is a dimension. Now, I believe that there are multiple dimensions.
Exactly.
3D is just one dimension. So it's a degrees of frequency that you vibrate at in order to achieve that frequency. I think that, sorry, lost my words for a second. I think that we, as sovereign individuals, we want to be, or we want to see that higher timeline to evolve further. When I talk about 3D, it's like a dimensional shift. I think time is not linear. I think time is like, I believe all timelines exist simultaneously. It's the frequency that you hold, that light source, that crystalline grid that you hold within your body that allows you to see that dimensional shift. I've been seeing this since I was a little kid. I look up in the sky and I just see the lights, the northern lights, like going all over. And then I see lights, stars moving around. And I'm not sure if they're spaceships or if they're stars moving, but I think that when you switch to that 5D frequency, you're able to see more. You develop your clairs. You start living in your true potential. So are we shifting into like this miraculous 5D? Oh my God, everyone's going to see differently. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not really resonating with that, but it's a degree of perception. And I believe that we are all accessing those higher timelines.
To me, 5D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D is the way that we vibrate to our surroundings. we vibrate. If we have basic thoughts of killing, murdering, eating red meat, making love, just making lots of money and living a material life, then that is probably 3D. But if one thinks about different aspects of lightening their vibration, listening to beautiful music, being nice, being warm, being in love, sending love bombs, appreciating nature, tending to other people, that obviously alters your frequency. So that frequency is a dimension which is not outside of us, it's inside of us. It's here. It's one of the levels. It's one of the levels that is in the body or just to one side of the body, like the astral plane, like the spiritual plane, like the mental plane, right? And then the higher mental, where all the higher selves live on. But the higher self lives within us. So all these dimensions are within us. But it's the way we think and feel. And if we think base thoughts, we're on a lower dimension. So to me, when we are awake, because someone just took my words here, Christopher Cunningham, when we awake and we're aware, we can change the frequency. It's like doing a knob on an old transistor, trying to tune into that frequency, where it's a bit like, and then it goes, welcome to the 99% show. It's like, oh my God, I'm on the right frequency. That's what tuning to 5D is. Clarifying of thoughts, clarifying of your behaviour, clarifying of your feelings, not putting up with boring people who pull you down, living, if you can, a pure and simple life. Now, nothing's going to be simple in the future because we've all got all this technology coming. But if we have technology that we can't gel with and we don't know what to do, like people tell me, oh, I'm not technology savvy. Well, I've had to learn, but that's fine because we're going to leave that behind sooner or later because it's going to be inbred in us. It's going to be inbred. When we kick the bucket, when we croak it, when we go to the side and we take our next breath and we wake up over there, we have a period of time and that's all going to be put back into us in our DNA, in our structure, in our crystalline grid body. It's going to come back with us. So we're going to be more in tune by the work we do now on ourselves. When we come back in, we're going to hit the floor running. That's to me is a dimension. And there's a dimension of fear and there's a dimension which is higher than that. Well, for me personally, I want to be the higher dimension.
I think that's what we all want. I mean, that's what we came here to do. I mean, we challenged ourselves to experience life, to put these challenges. How will we know what fear feels like unless we experience it? Love, childbirth, death. We can't know what that feels like unless we experience it. We can come in as a butcher and then come back as the cow to feel that frequency or that vibration, to experience that life. Sort of like think of the speed of light. Light is fast because it has a higher vibration. As we evolve, our vibration increases because we are carrying more of our light or our soulness within our body. So when we are able to raise our frequency up, we connect to source. We see, we start believing in ourselves. We have those positive attributes, those self-love, that those higher frequencies are going to help us ascend. Of course, they're giving us energy or sending energy to us to help us through this process, like this great awakening. And, I keep hearing it, but I think it's spiritual as well as knowledge-based.
I'm going to jump in here. Forgive me for interrupting because I'm just that kind of guy. At least I say, excuse me. What do you think America is stepping out of? Do you think they're stepping out into a higher vibration now?
Oh, absolutely. We're, but there's so many people still asleep, and it's going to take something big in order to wake them up. I was hoping for JFK to come out on the stage, that kind of thing.
Like another 4 years of Trump, JFK might come. the guy, I forgot his name now, the paedophile guy who committed suicide. He's supposed to have not. He's supposed to be alive, right, and going to spill the beans. I mean, personally, you can have too much politics. So I try not to get involved. I don't know everything about American politics, but what is happening now, this is going to continue, and they're going to say for the next 2 weeks. They just told me that the next 2 weeks is going to continue, and it will be like a crescendo. Oh, I can't say that. It's going to go higher and higher and higher, and then all it's going to just crack open. It's like an Easter egg. It's chocolate. It's fragile, but you know there's something inside. But it's going to break, and as you break the Easter egg, that's the surprise.
And maybe it's going to take this catalyst. Maybe it takes that big bang to trigger the world. Maybe it's not what we expected, and it's okay to be wrong. Like for me, what I see intuitively is that this needed to happen. This this is the precipice. This is the catalyst, the climax of the movie that we're watching, and everything needs to happen this way in order for this ascension to happen, or this awakening, this great awakening, that what they call. Here in America, I think we're all sort of in the belief system that we had the greatest country of all, and now we find that it was the most corrupt, and it takes a strike on your ego to know that you were wrong for so long. But I think
I'm
it's okay.
I'm not being rude. I'm just looking other news from America coming in, but
Yeah.
I thought it was, but it's not. It's nothing special.
Mm.
Whoever sent me that, what do you mean nothing special, you cheeky so and so? They're gonna have a go at me later. I heard you on live say I'm nothing special, but it is amazing, and from my perspective, that the more that we stand into our own power, the more that we show other people that we can stand into our power, and we're not scared of making mistakes. We're not scared, because that's how we learn, and that's how we grow. But my heart and my energy is actually with the American people. It must be a past energy there that I had. I feel at home in the UK because this is where I've got to be at this moment. But I feel in the UK that, the old saying that uh, the the master is never known in his own town. I'm rephrasing that. The prophet's never known in his own town. But when he goes somewhere else, it's like saying, whoa, we needed this. And that's how I feel with that in England. We need a shake up. We need somebody to come over to England and, like a Trump, like somebody powerful, and to ruffle the feathers of those that are now, I shall say this politely, or stuff that for being politely, who took the money from that which ceases to, wants to, I'm looking for words here, drive us down and trap us. We need somebody, but we don't. This is what they get into now. They're saying all you need, beloved, is yourself. You can be the master. You can be the seer. You can be the one who breaks the chains. You don't need a savior, because you are all that saviors. And they use the word savior very, very, very meaningful. You don't need to be a strong man to slip the chains. You just know, in a way, self-belief. And it's having the skill to realize that you have always been powerful and sharp like a double-edged sword. Now that wasn't from me, that was from them. They were kind of watching my words, which is fine. So they've hijacked tonight, which is great. I don't mind. Then they normally hijack tomorrow night on the Dennis Barnes Out Front show. But we'll see if that goes political tomorrow night. Now they might turn it all around. So what is happening right now? What's the news you've heard about
Well,
Trump?
well, I did hear that the joint sessions came together. They couldn't. I heard that Pence basically didn't decide the electors, and uh, he'll let Congress object and go through that process, I guess. And uh, I guess when they separated the House and the Senate, they were supposed to come back after 2 hours, and they didn't, or that's when this whole thing erupted. I heard, I wasn't watching at the time, that they stormed the building, and I also saw some tweets from like uh, Lynn Wood saying that this was Antifa or this was BLM. It wasn't, the media is going to try to portray that
That's
it's
right.
not. And that, but then in the back of my head, I keep on hearing that maybe this was all done intentionally, maybe this needed to happen. I did hear that something about some gunshots going out on within. I did see some of the buildings at the Capitol, the windows, they were trying to smash them. But for the most part, the people outside were not acting violently. They were just sitting waiting for something to happen. Like they wanted to be there. They want to be in that moment of this event. But I don't know, and I can't say for sure whether or not this is Antifa or if it's just out of control Trumpers. I don't know that for truth. But
Well, we're not
I,
going to know it all, are we? Because we're not there. And everybody will have a vested interest in spinning their yarn, spinning their narrative. But I think it's an interesting time, and I do suggest to people listening to this show and listening to other people's show, get the popcorn because it's just started. Just started. And it's going to be an epic end. It is. It is a battle. Excuse me. It's a battle against evil and against good. No matter way you look at it, evil wants to entrap us, and good wants to free us. It's as simple as that. And like
yeah,
Cindy Jordan
it's not
says,
left or right. It's
no,
not it's good versus evil. Period.
that's all it is.
That's it. And the evil had been in control for a long time. And we've been blind to it. And we've been programmed. I tell people watching TV, you're being programmed. You're watching a television.
Yeah.
They're channeling messages. And
I'll
when I
tell you
see,
what. I'll tell you what I've noticed. Excuse me, because I've noticed that, and I spoke out about it today. I put a little picture out there. Well, a big place card that most of the so-called spiritual teachers have disappeared. They're not standing and fighting. They've disappeared. They've done a runner. They're hiding because they want to sit on the fence, but they're scared to be counted. They don't want to take sides because they might lose their reputation. They might lose their money. So I was just thinking about, I thought about this a while actually. Why are all these spiritual teachers or people in the know, I'm not going to mention any names, but people that were famous, where have they all gone to? What are they doing? Why aren't they standing up and be counted? Are they scared? People got to make their own mind up. They've got to, and I put that out today, and people sometimes are backing off thinking, yeah, we never thought about this. And then you get the people who are internet warriors and they don't mind actually speaking their truth. But what we want is people to come together in the flesh. And this is why lockdown's all about. They don't want us coming together. They don't want us to meet, to come, to have comfort with each other, to share our hearts and our thoughts and our feelings so we can motivate each other. That's why they want to separate us, keep us locked up in our pens. It's like those huff huff and I'll blow your house down, that nursery rhyme or that kids' children when the pigs or the rabbits were in the house and the big wolf comes out. That's what the governments are now. They're big wolves and they're scaring the hell out of people. And we've got to be able to say to people, don't be scared, fight back. Even if you're taken out of the physical body, you're not going to die, you're going to come back. We're going to, everything we do from a certain age, everything we do and say, we are working on our next life from a certain age. So what we're doing now, we're fighting for our freedom. We're looking after our thoughts and feelings, our brothers and sisters. We're trying to make life easier for them. We're trying to get knowledge about natural herbs and nature and stuff. All that is going to help us when we go over, when we come back in the next life. if we choose to come back, if we don't get sucked into the reincarnation trap of seeing the light. But when we come back, when we know we've got to come back, what we're doing now is we're learning, we're bringing to us, we're bringing this knowledge to harvest within us, till we go over for a period of short time, come back, and then use it for the benefit of our brothers and sisters, because they were going to be superhumans on the planet in a period of maybe 100, 150, or 200 years. Going to be superhumans. And the old way we think and feel now doesn't exist, but we've got to go through that. We've got to make the what's the word I'm looking for? Begins with T. Transition. We've got to make the transition, and it starts now. And if we can inspire everybody else as much as we can, and even the ones we don't inspire, we have to walk away, because we can't allow them to stop us on our journey. You can't allow anybody else to pull you down. I can't. And that sometimes we've got to say, thus so far no more, on your bike.
You know, and I think that the deletes, it backfired on them, because they were trying to keep us separate, without contact, with ever, you know, they're covering our mouths so we can't speak. But they didn't realize that once they separated us, we had to look within ourselves.
Mm.
We had to really experience who we were and what all those fear-based paradigms were weighing us down. We're
Yep.
starting to recognize our own light, and now we're stepping into this. So I think it backfired on them
It has.
because we're starting to see our own potential. And
Yeah.
since we're vibrating at that higher frequency, we're actually seeing the timelines that are being played out, the truth, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Mm.
so it's an amazing time.
This was brought to me a while ago, saying that if you step back, if you look at the lockdowns and enjoy them, if you can financially get by, this gives you an opportunity to look within, to find the peace that passes all understanding, and that peace then allows you to sit on the proverbial park bench and let the world go by, or you cannot be affected because you found peace within yourself. Now, lockdown, you could say that's been designed, or this coronavirus, the COVID-19, you could say has been designed to come on the planet to actually give mankind awakening, to go within, to find the peace, and then or to develop or to explore who they are, what makes them tick, what makes them human, or what makes them spiritual, being a human body. If we could use that as this COVID-19 as that catalyst to go within and saying, actually, it doesn't affect me. It affects me as Dennis, the physical body, right? But it doesn't affect Dennis, the spiritual being. Now, if everybody can have this understanding, we could just rise up with knowledge and understanding, inspiration, and wipe what is in front of us, the 2% of people, and wipe them away with understanding, because that understanding will give us the power of what to do and where to go and who to speak to and how to come together as a collective unit.
And you can't hold those negative frequencies, those angers, those fears, those things that keep you from ascending. When you make your life or create your own life, let's say you step out into the world and you, I don't know, you get into a car accident. And normally you would be like, ah, you know, my whole world's crashing down, instead of saying, okay, what is this teaching me? You know, what is it that I'm learning from this? And not react with those anger issues. I remember a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I lost my wallet. I'm like, oh, well, you know, and I try not to get angry or get upset anymore, you know, because when you hold those frequencies, it just keeps you down. It doesn't allow you to rise. And that's what I would suggest to everybody, is to recognize their own light and to um, be that dream you see in others, that light you see in others. Stop looking outside yourself. Recognize your own light and your own potentiality. And that's when you start ascending. That's when you start, I don't know, becoming the person you were always meant to be, what you challenged yourself in this lifetime to do. And when you step into that awareness, that's when the doors open. that's when you start manifesting that timeline that you want and
Yeah.
creating that existence, that life that you were meant to be, and you can't give up. You can't say, age is going to stop you, or your financial reasons. If you start vibrating at that timeline, it'll manifest because your intent is put out there and it will allow those doors to open for you. But so many people are afraid to walk through that door. What if I can't do it? I'm not strong enough. I don't like doing lives. So do them. Step out of your comfort zone and do them, because
Yeah.
that's when you grow.
Exactly. Is that when I first started to realise that I had a voice, or upstairs were pushing me to speak at spiritual churches when I first came into this. But when I first came into it, I kind of hit the floor running, think what's going on here. But the first spiritual message I ever gave at spiritual church was about a washing machine. And I'm thinking, how can I explain about a washing machine? There's very basic message, and what the washing machine was, it was showing me you put your washing in, it spins it, it cleans it, it comes out brand new. You got new washing, you got new clothes basically. So it's all to do with the mind, right? You put your washing in, and I kind of looked at it philosophy wise, and I kind of stood up and talked about this wash machine. And because I had a speech impediment, it took me about physically 5 minutes to get the words out because I was stuttering on every word. But when I did the message in my head, it took about a minute and 30 seconds. So in your head, when you're thinking, you don't stutter. When you're singing, you don't stutter because you're in harmony. When you play music, I play the saxophone, I don't stutter with a note. It's like breathing, it's perfect. But when you're having a voice, you're thinking, oh, it's allowing your voice. And upstairs said to me, we're here, and whenever you stand up and speak with the authority that you know you have, not being big-headed, not being egotistic, but helping other people, those legions of what you may call angels, astral beings, spiritual beings, stand with you. So, for you, every time you speak, that you've got the outside help. Every time you feel from your heart, you connect with other people's hearts, and other people who want to be inspiring speakers, or want to be inspiring teachers of metaphysics. Just believe you can do it. Just believe you can do it, because that's belief is everything.
And I think there's a lot of times with me, I don't want to be that false prophet. I want to be truly authentic in who I am and what I do, because I think that there's a degree of I don't know, just corruption within the spiritual community. And I shouldn't say corruption; that's the wrong word. Being inauthentic.
Yeah.
So I try to be as honest and integral as possible, and I also encourage other people to do that. I'm starting to start my own spiritual practice, but not saying I'm a medium or just I'm an intuitive guide. I am a sort of like a soul guide. That's what I want to do, and to be integral to that will manifest that timeline. And so I'm looking at it through an integrity, being honest, truthful, and resonating what I want, instead of looking and saying, I want to be the best medium, I want to be the best psychic. That's ego stepping in. It prevents you from doing that.
The best thing to do, I think, on that, and then we have to wind it up because we've been on in there for 1 hour and 30 minutes. We only have people a break, and it could go on and on. We have to bring you back again. That's brilliant. That upstairs said to me many years ago, Dennis, you're like a toolbox. I went, don't you be so bloody cheeky. I'm like a toolbox. You mean I'm square and fat and heavy? He said, no. Open the toolbox. What do you see? I say, lots of tools. Well, that's what every gift you've got. You've got spiritual healing. You put your hands on people. That's a tool. You've got the gift of clairvoyance, that's a tool. You've got the gift of mastership, that's a tool. You've got the gift of channeling, that's a tool. You've got the gift of inspirational speaking, that's a tool. Everybody's got that. And what you do is you carry your toolbox with you all the time because it's inside you. And for certain people, you just pull out a tool. You just do it automatically. Your toolbox inside. It's every person you come, you'll have a tool to assist that person. But you've got to know how to handle the tools for yourself. You've got to give yourself a tune-up. You've got to give yourself an MOT in the way you think and the way you feel. You've got to change your oil. Well, that's changing your thought patterns. You've got to run smoothly. So that's about your heart, doing exercise. So, and that's how they explained it to me. I went, oh my God, you're good, aren't you? Can you tune my car as well? We said, don't be cheeky. But this is what it's all about. It's all about is having a laugh at the same time, vibrating to those people that vibrate to you, and having some fun. And don't be scared of making a mistake. Well,
absolutely.
I think it's been a great evening. Thank you for accepting. It was Colin who told me about you and reached out. So, actually, brilliant. Absolutely wonderful, you know.
And could I just inspire everyone to just keep speaking their truth, not resonate at fear, keep that higher frequency and that vibration, because the collective need it. The collective need that frequency. And when you find your own light, it helps the collective ascend, to move forward.
Okay, well, let's leave it there. I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on, and maybe definitely come back again. Let me know if there's any major developments in your neck of the wood. Let me know. Absolutely. Because I want to keep my ear to the ground there. Definitely.
Well, we'll have to tune in at 9, apparently.
9 Eastern Standard Time. That's and then that's 5 hours behind. So that's 2 o'clock our time. I am not going to bed. Well, I am, but I'll take my phone in bed with me. So I listen to the phone. Put my ear things in, listen to the phone. Thank you so much. And people are saying thank you very much. People are saying, yay. I mean, you've got Cindy, you got Jill, you got Zoe, you got Robert Stenton, who's been naughty. You've got, well, he did a lot of people, a lot of the same people. But you've got, what I found, people will come into the comment room and make a comment. But when you look back at the shows, or the people who viewed it, it just goes higher and higher and higher. And today is a good day, the 6th of January, 2021. People put that in your diary because that's when mankind have started taking the power back. So on that note, what we do, we'll go out with the sheep video. I love the sheep video. You may not have seen it, you might have, but people are brilliant. So we will say good night from UK. Good night from America. It's all kicking off, and we're going to end with the sheep. I think you all understand what this is all about, folks. So good night, God bless, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now. Bye. Bye.
To all the sheep in this country, this is a message from your beloved government. We support you. Why? Because you do everything the government says. You never question anything because you know the government never lies. You, loyal sheep, don't care that thousands of cancer victims are dying a painful death, that suicides are increasing daily. You just don't care, my beloved sheep, because you know no death is as important as a COVID death. It doesn't matter to you, oh sheepy, that our civil liberties are being taken away day by day. It doesn't matter to you that you can't say goodbye to your dying relatives. It doesn't matter that you can't go out, meet your friends. Just believe in more lockdown after lockdown after lockdown. You are happy sheepy to hide indoors while you wait to be injected with the vaccine. And don't worry, if you don't want the vaccine, we will hold you down and inject you anyway. Just keep watching the government propaganda from the BBC and Sky News. and stay too scared to go out. And if you do, wear a mask while you breathe in your own feces as you drive your car. Oh, sheepy, we support you. Keep on shaming the non-mask wearers. Bully them, attack them, because they are to blame for everything, not your beloved government that is prepared to bankrupt every business in the country for a virus that kills less than 1% of those who catch it. My beloved sheep, it doesn't matter to you that your government is run by multimillionaires who think you can live on £90 a week on universal credit while they ruin the economy, make you homeless and turn you into a snitch. You don't care, oh sheepy, that anyone who questions the government is branded a conspiracy theorist and will be arrested by the police and fined £10,000. You don't care that doctors are jailed who offer an alternative way forward, or that our beloved police batter innocent protesters with batons or punch old women in the stomach who want to stand up for our civil rights. We love you, sheepy. We love you. You never research, you never learn, you never question, and because you are a complete moron, fuckwit, compliant COVID zealot, you, yes you, will be the first to take the vaccine. God bless you, sheepy, and good luck. Your government loves you. And now, this message will be translated into your own language.